If you defeat him, will you defend your belt against Aspinall, who has the interim title?
More than likely not. More than likely not.
I get that Tom is an exciting fighter. I get that finally, after 16 years, we found somebody who's 7 years younger than me and 30 pounds bigger than me. Like, we finally found someone who may give me a great challenge. And everyone wants to see it so bad. But for me, it's like, what is it? What's in it for me? He changes nothing if I beat him.
I guess the clarifying question then is, if Dana and Hunter do come to you after this fight, the figures make sense to you, would you then be open to fighting Tom Aspinall, or are you categorically thinking, he does nothing for me, I will not fight that guy?
He does nothing for me. He does nothing for me. What I'd like to see him do is go on and have a great career. You know, so many times people like to just try to go straight to the top. You know, and if we were in a business setting where he is and where I am, he wouldn't even be crossing paths with me. He wouldn't even be talking to me. I believe I'm at a place where I deserve to be able to say, I don't want to fight that guy. I want to fight this guy. I want to fight that guy. And that's why I'm be more than willing to relinquish the belt. I don't feel like I need the heavyweight championship of the world. I feel like what I've created for myself is almost bigger than belts. So the main goal is to get past Stipe. And if I can do it in a really dominant, devastating fashion, then the desire in my heart would be like, okay, now it's Alex Pereira. And if the UFC doesn't want that to happen, because ultimately it's the boss's decision, then it won't happen. And I'll just move on with my life. But that's one of the ways I look at it is, would you guys rather lose me or get one more super fight? And the only super fight that makes sense to me, not to everyone else, but to me and my team, is Alex Pereira. I'm not really worried about the Tom fight. I'm really worried about the Pereira fight. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do, and I think if the UFC wants to have me back, then I think that's the fight they'll make. I've been really clear about my intentions. That's what I want, and I mean, I just feel like anybody would understand at this point. Like, you know, I'll retire the heavyweight belt if I have to. It's like, dude, give the guy what he wants at the end of the day, you know? And I'm not talking to Dana directly. I feel like I'm at a place now where, you know, like I want to take what I find to be super fights. I don't want to fight dangerous up-and-comers anymore. I want to fight dangerous, established champions. So Tom can have the heavyweight championship. I don't really care about it. That my value doesn't lie in belts anymore. I've created something much bigger. I want Pereira. If that was my last fight ever, then I'm cool with that. I think one of the really good things about negotiating is being willing to walk away from a deal. And that's the deal that I want. And if that's not what the fans want, then I guess I'll say sayonara.
I'm excited to see you again.
You know, but you're still active. 10 years left.
He said you got 10 years left, but you're still active.
I'm done.
He's like, I'm looking forward to seeing you again, Camille. You look great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's do some business.
All right, let's do some business. At this point, it couldn't be more obvious. Jon Jones does not want to fight Tom Aspinall. And yet, somehow, the UFC is still pushing this narrative like it's going to happen. Even now, after word's gotten out that Jones has told people close to him that he's done fighting. Not retiring publicly, but privately letting it be known he's out. Unless things go exactly his way. He's made it clear before. Tom Aspinall is too big, too fast, and maybe even just too good. Jones isn't interested in that challenge unless the UFC agrees to his terms. And what's more shocking is Jones is genuinely surprised that the UFC hasn't even sat down to talk about what he actually wants. Lately, Jones has been on social media just ... vibing, enjoying life in Thailand, stuffing his face with great food, chilling with Nate Diaz, launching businesses, looking a lot more like retirement than training camp. When fans ask, "Are you going to fight again?" or "Why are you still champion if you're not defending?" his answers only confirm the suspicion. One fan even hit him with, "Enjoy your last days as champ," before being stripped, and Jones just laughed it off, replying, "Do I look like someone who cares about that?" And honestly, he's not wrong. This guy's been stripped more times than anyone, and he's never cared. The belt is only valuable to him when it benefits him. It's selfish, but this is MMA. This is a selfish sport. Fighters are forced to think about themselves, and Jones is doing exactly that. But the real issue, the UFC is letting him do it. They're keeping him champion. Meanwhile, they made Islam Makhachev vacate his title for a lot less. Islam wanted to keep fighting, stay active, but Jon Jones, who isn't even committed to returning, gets to keep his belt. How does that make sense? Some people are starting to wonder, is this just a giant PR strategy? Is the UFC and Jones working together behind the scenes to hype this fight by dragging it out? We're tired. The moment passed. If they wanted this to be a mega fight, it should have been made 8 months ago. That was peak hype. Now, not so much. The UFC still wants the fight. Tom Aspinall wants it. The fans want it. The only person who doesn't is Jon Jones. So what does he actually want? In his own words, to continue to monetize this amazing brand I've built. Another fan asks, "So, are you going to fight again or not?" And Jones replies, "Not a bad idea," which is such a vague, half-hearted answer. It sounds more like he's negotiating than training. It's business. That's what this all is. And it feels like Jones is planning one last big cash out. Maybe he wants to co-promote like boxers do. Maybe it's a brand deal, a business venture. We don't know. But he clearly wants something much bigger than just a payday. And he's smart because now he's flipping the blame on the UFC. Saying, "I already told them my plans. I don't know why they haven't told you yet." It's a power move. It makes the UFC look like the ones holding it up, even though it's obvious Jones is dragging this out. But why is the UFC allowing this? Why do they keep him champion? One word: leverage. The UFC has a new TV deal on the horizon, and Jon Jones is still one of the biggest names they can offer. Jon knows that. That's why he's stalling. He knows he's their trump card. But this entire division is suffering because of it, especially Tom Aspinall. The guy is in his prime. He used to fight 3 times a year. Now, he hasn't fought in almost a full year. He's still training, but motivation is fading. How do you train full steam ahead for a fight that might never happen? If I were Tom, I'd be done waiting. Call out Cyril Gunn. Ask for Gelton Almeida. Move on. Stop being Michael Chandler, waiting endlessly for someone who doesn't want to fight. Let's keep the division moving, because honestly, who's left for Tom? He already beat Volkov, knocked out Pavlovich, knocked out Blades, knocked out Spivak, knocked out Tybura. The only realistic matchups left are Cyril, Gan, Gelton, Almeida, and maybe, just maybe, Talasa Tay if he rises fast enough. That's it. The rest of the division's already been handled. The UFC needs to move on. If Jones doesn't want to fight, strip him. Give Tom the undisputed title and let him defend it like a real champion. He already defended it against Pavlovich, something Jones hasn't done at heavyweight. And let's be real, Stipe Miocic, the guy Jones beat, was coming off a 4-year layoff, a knockout loss, and was clearly just there to collect a check and retire. That wasn't a legacy win. That was a send-off. So, what are we doing here? Is holding on to the belt for attention, for leverage, maybe for that final mega payday. But he's not fighting. And the UFC keeps rewarding him for not fighting, while the guy who's ready, the guy who's hungry, the guy who wants to defend the belt and build a legacy, Tom Aspinall, is stuck in limbo. It's time to flip the script. Make Tom the undisputed champ. Let him fight. Let him work. Let him chase greatness while he still can. Because Jon Jones, he's already moved on. If you guys enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay in the loop. This is Nakan, and I'll see you in the next one.